Hello and welcome back to the Fixing Football podcast with me, Martin Naylor, and this week is our end of season awards. Football is done, thankfully, for at least a couple of weeks, and then we've got England and some friendlies and the Club World Cup and transfer rumours to keep us busy, but the main stuff is done, and I'm joined by Liam O'Meara, Scott Naylor and Luke Foley. We have a full team here this evening, and I think we should get straight into it. First of all, Liam, how are you?
I'm very well, Martin. Very well. Back after a week off.
Yeah, you sorely missed. The comments have been basically just questioning your absence and whether the podcast should even go on without you here.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised you had any comments if people realised within a minute that I wasn't on it. Usually they just stop listening. But fair enough. I'm back, everyone. Don't worry. You can listen to more than 2 minutes of this podcast. I'm here. But it was a very good podcast while I wasn't listening.
Yeah, it's actually one of our most successful ones. So, but it's nice that you're back. Scott, how are you, mate?
I'm very well. Second week in a row. My streak is now alive. My Duolingo little owl will be very happy. So, yeah, I'm back for the end of season awards. How quickly we got here from the beginning.
Luke, are you all prepared? Are you ready to give this
prepared. Yes, I'm all ready.
Right. Where should we start? Liam, I'm going to let you choose first. You've all had your assignments. You've all been able to pick.
Where do we start? Let's start with, I think, a fun one. Let's start on a good note where we don't fall out yet. Something that we'll all agree on, which is goal of the season. I saw what the Premier League one was, and I thought it was a good goal. I was surprised it won goal of the season.
What was the Premier League one, the official one?
It was the Mamouche one.
Oh, right.
It's good technique, that kind of shot, in it, like that dipping shot technique. But I don't know. I felt like that was an underwhelming. If that's the goal of the season standard, I wouldn't have put it at that high up. I think it wouldn't have won goal of the month in other seasons, that one, rather than goal of the season. So it wasn't mine. I'll start by going with mine. Why not? Jump straight in. I went with Harry Wilson's back heel flick for Fulham. Was
that against Bournemouth as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I remember that was a good goal.
Outrageous goal. In that streak that Harry Wilson was in, where he was off the bench but scoring like 6 goals a game at a certain point. He was a fantastic fantasy league player at that point. Though, when everyone brought him in, and then they'd formed it up. But that was mine. Luke, you'll have yours ready, I imagine. Who did you go for?
I went for the Matoma goal, where he picked it out of the sky and then good touch and then just slots in the bottom right corner.
That was against Chelsea, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Was that league?
It was league, yeah.
Well, Liam, because this is the Fixing Football podcast, it doesn't necessarily have to restrict you to the Premier League in terms of.
You're not about to pick an own goal, are you, mine?
No.
We're not going down that route again, are we? Not falling out about own goals again.
No. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be Premier League or. Oh, right. No.
Don't want to go down that again.
Scott?
I have gone with Cole Palmer's chip against Wolves. I think it was like 4th game of the season, maybe, when we were absolutely flying. And it was...
I forgot about that goal. That was a good goal.
Yeah, it was beautiful. First time, dinked it straight. I mean, it was a bit off his line, but not crazy. But it was just beautiful how he just lofted it over, landed, it just nestled perfectly. To do that first time.
Was that the game? It was like 6-6 or something. Like
no, it was like 6-2 to us. I think it was in the end. Yeah, we absolutely battered them. Yeah, 6-6.
I've gone with Marmouche's goal.
It does look good, doesn't it? Like when you watch it back, it looks fucking great on the replay.
It's so good. I actually, when I was doing a bit of research last night, the Premier League YouTube channel have put like a 2-part video up of all the best goals this season. I think in that Harry Wilson one that you've picked, Liam, I think there's another goal from that match in the compilation as well. I think there was 2 good goals in that match. I can't remember who got the other one.
In that game, if I'm remembering that game more and more now, he scored 2 goals in added time to win the game. I think they were 1-0 down and they won 2-1 with 2 goals in injury time by Harry Wilson, I think.
Oh, maybe it's a different one then. Either way, yeah, I couldn't get past the Marmouche one. I think it's brilliant. There was another couple long range ones, like from Enciso scored a good one. and I actually nearly went with Matetas against Arsenal because I thought that was dead good. But Marmoush's was just sick, such a sweet hit. So I don't know if we're going to pick an actual winner here between us. We've all gone for something different, so I don't know how we come to a podcast agreement here.
There's another goal I want to put forward.
I do as well, by the way. But yeah,
I can't remember who actually scored it now. It might have been Tavernier, but it was the Bournemouth one away at Spurs where Kirkes the counter attack. It's like a free move counter attack. And Kirkes with that ball across. I think Tavernier, it was from left back to right back, which I think he'll probably fit Liverpool if he goes there. To be fair, with that kind of play, but it was an amazing goal. But obviously, if I can't remember who scored it, can't really count it. But
I wanted to give a special mention to John Duran versus Bayern Munich, which I thought was just class, especially at winning the game. Lobbing Neuer from miles out, he'd come on and change the game completely. But still, I think Marmoush's is my favourite that I've seen this season. So if anyone can make a case that we are straying aside from the actual official Premier League one, that's one that I'm going to say is the best goal.
Well, I feel like I opened up with a strong case why it wouldn't be that. Not knowing that you were going to pick that.
No. He was like, nah, I don't know if you've watched it back enough to really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it was like when City started winning games that didn't matter anymore, and I probably dismissed it because it felt like it was almost like a dead rubber.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I get that.
It's a very good technique. It is a very good technique.
We'll come back to it. But goals, but 4 very good goals there at least, and a couple more. I want to go back. I want to go to Rookie of the Season. So instead of a Young Player of the Season award, we've gone for a rookie. So this is someone who is under 21 and it's their debut season in the Premier League, which I think is better than the current Premier League rules, which is I think you have to be 23 at the start of the season. So someone who's nearly 25 can win the Young Player of the Season award. If
is Saka not still winning it?
He's still.
He's still in the running. Like Saliba was in the running. He turned 24 halfway through the season. Like in the official nominations, they sit.
Foden's in it as well. Still,
yeah,
still hanging on for dear life. Like he's been around for long. It should be. I think the Rookie of the Year should then be the official award. Like either your first year, even if you don't put an age limit on it, your first year in the Premier League, that should just be it.
So, Rookie of the Year, I'll start us off, and I was torn a little bit because I think Miles Lewis-Skelly deserves a shout, but I've gone with Dean Howson, who I did tip at the start of the season as being someone for people to keep their eye on, and he's already off. He's one and done in the Premier League. He's £50 million move to Real Madrid sorted. It just shows how good of a season he has. So, but I'm willing to open up this to the floor. Luke, who have you gone for?
I might have got the wrong answer or misdirection.
Well, who did you pick anyway?
So I actually picked Lewis Hall for left back for Newcastle. I thought he's had a really, really good season, and he's young.
Oh, someone is not under 21 or their first season in the Premier League. You went for that.
He's 20.
Is he really?
Yeah, he looks about 42, but he is very young.
It is a breakthrough season for him. I would say that it's definitely not his first season. It's definitely a breakthrough season for Lewis Hall.
Yeah, because he was having a stormer until he got that foot injury, but I was putting him in place for an England position, left back.
He made his debut this season for England. Along with Livramento at some point. I actually think he did. It didn't impress me too much for England. I thought in the match, because him and Livramento started at the sets, I thought Livramento played a lot better. But there's time for him. I like him as a player. But this is an incorrect answer, Luke. We haven't followed the rules here. We've got to have some structure here if we're going to go on. Scott, tidy us up.
I'm going to go with, I have 2 in mind, one of which I'm not 100% sure on his age, so I'm not sure if he qualifies. But if he does, I'm going to go with Liam Delap if he qualifies based on age. Certainly his first year in the Premier League. I can't remember how old he's.
He's 21, right?
21.
Right.
We've got to have some confirmations here. It just takes a tiny bit of research at this point.
Well, I don't know if I thought he was 22 or 23, but
definitely in the vibes, isn't he? He's definitely vibes.
He's in that area. The other shout that I would have had if Liam Delap is disqualified is in your vein, Martin. Huyson's partner at centre half, that's Zabignani, I think his name is. I might be butchering his name, but the other centre half who's been partnered him for Bournemouth, I think he's been brilliant. I'm pretty sure he's only 20 years old as well. So I'm be surprised if he doesn't get a big move either this year or next.
There's a lot of Bournemouth are going to be down to the bare bones at this rate with Kirkes as well going.
Yeah.
Not sure what's happening with Kepa. Was he was a loan, right? Or was that a permanent deal?
No, I think it's a loan. I don't know if they'll take his wages will be stupid, so I don't know if they'll take him.
Got Semenyo linked with a move as well.
Semenyo, Kluivert's in the shop window. There's
Evan Nielsen potentially.
Yeah. I mean, they might make a few quid, but they'll be there's a lot to replace there. Liam Delap's 22, but he was 22 in February, so
fair.
We'll say he was 21 at the start of the season, and that's fair.
And he was mine as well. I think him and Huyson are the outstanding answers, but I think Liam Delap, he is a rare breed of striker, and
Agreed.
The fact that quite literally everyone wants to sign him. And I think it's interesting that he's picked Chelsea. And I don't want to go straight too far from this, but it seemed like he turned Newcastle down on the basis that he wouldn't get a game because of Isak being there. So the fact that he's then decided on Chelsea when United was an option for him, and for me, a fairly reasonable option considering his dad lives in the area. So United was a big option for him, but he's then chosen Chelsea. So it says a lot about their potential movement of Nicholas Jackson and pecking order there. So that'll be an interesting one. But yeah, it's definitely Liam Delap, I think.
Liam, why did you laugh when I said Miles Lewis-Skelly?
I just think we're going to get a lot of those special mentions, even though you're not going to pick them, but you're just going to make sure they get in the conversation. You're just going to try and shoehorn as many of them in the conversation as possible.
But why is he not in the conversation? Impartially. Why not?
I'm not saying he's not. I just think anyone else, we wouldn't have picked. Oh, no, he's had a very good start. Miles Lewis-Skelly's had a very good season. Very good season. But I'm just going to laugh every time. I think you're shoehorning someone into a conversation without actually picking them. I'm sure that it will not be the first time that happens tonight, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, he's had a very good season, Miles Lewis-Skelly. I want to see him in midfield, though, because I don't like this idea of centre midfielders when they're young getting a game at fullback, and then all of a sudden the fullbacks for life. Then I feel like we lose quite a lot of good players. Because that Lewis Cook at Bournemouth is another example of that. Like somebody who maybe could have commanded a big move by now in his normal position as centre defensive midfield, but he's almost been playing at right back half the time now, so that's not helped him either. But anyway, yeah, well done, Miles Lewis-Skelly.
This is just rude. Right, next, Liam, we're going to go to Player of the Season. I wonder if this is the only unanimous one that we've got. Luke, I'm going to let you start.
It's got to be Salah, isn't it? Hopefully everyone's chose it.
You tell us why. So not a question.
Well, just the goal involvements. So he's matched. Is it Andy Cole's and Shearer's goal involvements for the year? He's just been spectacular. It's probably been one of the main reasons why Liverpool just stormed it this season.
Fair. Look, Scott, have you gone elsewhere?
Yeah, I have. I can't. And I will go on record to say this is purely because I just do not rate Mo Salah at all. I can't in good conscience vote for him as my player of the year because he just isn't that good. And
I just thought that's what you say you don't rate him. Like
I don't rate him at all.
Okay. Just going to leave that out there, like the bad smell that it is.
The fact that you all rate him is a sign of how far we've fallen as a footballing society. That is what you find impressive. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, but I couldn't pick Ronaldinho in this one from 10 years ago. Like,
no, but we can just all say that no one's that good anymore. That's also an option, but we all just refuse to do that.
No best player. The bar hasn't been raised at all. That's it. End of conversation.
It's fallen for about 10 years. But anyway, if we're going to use goal involvements and statistics as Mo Salah worshippers like to do, I don't think you can look past Chris Wood. Because Chris Wood I would argue that Mo Salah's season is, I wouldn't say it's typical because he's clearly performed a bit above his usual. But when you compare the expectation on Chris Wood's shoulders as opposed to Mo Salah, if Mo Salah finished on the season he has, you're like, yeah, okay, fair. He's done all right. But Chris Wood's had an exceptional season. So I'm going to vote for Chris Wood.
Mike, can I just ask? When you said I thought this would be unanimous, who did you think would unanimously agree on?
Mo Salah.
See, I was on the fence between two, and neither of them were Mo Salah. Mo Salah's third on my list. But I was caught between Van Dijk. I think Van Dijk's had his best season at Liverpool this season. And which is saying a lot because he set the bar on centre halves in the last 10 years. Like no one comes close to him. Mm. And the other one is Isak, who has probably cemented his place as the best striker in the world, in my view. I would take Isak over Haaland, personally, if I was building a team. I think he's an outrageously good footballer who could literally walk into any team in the world. And if Newcastle hadn't qualified for the Champions League, he probably would have been a British record transfer this summer. But they did, so unlucky everyone that he's a striker this summer, which is everyone. But yeah, I went with Van Dijk originally, but I'm now going to go with Isak.
Fair. Well, Luke.
It's only me and you recognise good players, and Martin, I suppose.
It isn't. No, it isn't. That.
Famously, yeah.
Don't lump me into any category like that with you. This is
Luke and Martin's opinions are the same.
It's not how I want to be remembered. Really. But no, it's just one of them where I have great admiration for all them players who you've mentioned, Isak especially. But yeah, what Mo Salah's done has been too impressive not to recognise and hold him as the best player this season. I think he's been patchy, if that's going to be a criticism, but to still put up the numbers that he's got, I think his players changed as well a lot this year. He doesn't go past anyone. He doesn't really dribble past anyone. He's good at cutting in, as everyone knows. Everyone knows what he's good at. But what he's done this season is stick out on the wing, hold the ball up really well, and it shows that his passing has become a big part of his game with the amount of assists he's got. So I think he's changed for the better to suit his game. Obviously got the new contracts and that's in. And yeah, for me and for the majority decision, he gets the Fixing Football Podcast Player of the Year.
Ooh.
I think that's the only way to go. Liam, I'm going to let you kick off Manager of the Year.
This was an interesting one, wasn't it? Because me and Scott were having an argument of this about 4 or 5 months ago. No, 4 or 5 weeks ago, actually. When, Scott, you found it incredulous that I wouldn't give it. That I didn't see Nuno Espirito Santo as the outstanding candidate at that point. And I'm wondering where you still lie on this, because I struggle to look past Slot on this purely because of the fact that he's walked in and won the league in the first year. Now, we could talk about it being an easier league and whatever, but I don't necessarily believe that. I think that a lot of teams have got stronger rather than teams at the top getting worse. I think a lot of your Bournemouths and your Brightons are now really strong sides, and maybe that wasn't the case 3 or 4 years ago.
I think we said that last week, didn't we? That's sort of part of it. What we said last week.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Arne Slot.
Okay. I'm going to echo that. I've also gone with Slot. I just think expectation, no one had Liverpool winning the league this season. Everyone expected a bedding in season, especially with the lack of signings, because usually a new manager coming in is going to bring 1 or 2 players he knows or is familiar with. there was none of that. He brought in one sign, I think 2 signings all year, and then one of them went back out on loan. They've been unbelievably consistent. The players seem to have responded really well to him, coming off the back of this cult vibe that Klopp had left. And yeah, just got to hold your hands up sometimes and say that this guy, everything that he's touched has worked. Every idea that he's had has sort of paid off, and they've ran away with it. So I think the second season, usually the second season is the one you build on. I think the second season is going to be the really interesting one now for Slot, where we can think about him almost peaking too early. We're going to see how it starts. We'll see. But for me, manager of the season by distance as well. Let's go with Scott.
So, yeah, Liam, to your point, if the final whistle on the season had blown when we were having that discussion, I still don't see how you could have looked past Nuno if he'd have got because I think at the time Forest might have been third.
Oh yeah, I was very conflicted, by the way. I genuinely, it wasn't like I was saying at that point that Slot was firing out. What, and even still know what Nuno's done there. You know, they're the first team to ever get double the points that they did previous season.
Oh, really?
That's good.
No club's ever done that. No, they've got more than double the points. That's
crazy.
The previous year. Can I just say as well, before we carry on, Luke, looking at your screen, I feel like I'm in the microwave and you're like watching me being made.
I've just texted Luke saying, "Get your fucking forehead out of the screen."
Right.
Apparently that couldn't have waited till the break for Liam. It had to be said now. But we've all been staring at your forehead for quite some time. So all YouTube watchers, you'll have enjoyed that close up of Luke's eyebrows area.
Sorry, Scott. Go on.
Thanks, Liam. And now we've lost Scott's volume. What's happening? Tell you what, we're going to have a super quick break and then we're going to finish manager of the season. And we're back, and we have rejoined by Scott's volume and Luke's full face on this side of the podcast. Scott, you was going to tell us about manager.
Manager, yeah. So I'm not going to repeat the Nuno thing again because I've done that twice. But Nuno would have been my pick a few weeks ago, but ultimately he did kind of fail. He got them within touching distance of the Champions League and fell. Well, he kind of did. He was. I think they were in third most of the year, and they ultimately bottled it.
I can't believe they finished seventh.
Didn't even get fourth or fifth. Which Conference League is great for them. Like that'll be a brilliant. And they should make a strong case for winning that, and that's great for us. I think that's class. So I was thinking. So I'm now torn between two, and through gritted teeth, I have to talk about Arne Slot because he has come in and won it on his first attempt. So fair enough. I also like Oliver Glasner and what he's doing at Palace, and I think bringing an FA Cup to Crystal Palace. And he's kind of similar to what you were saying, Liam. He started to build a little something. He came in midway point of last season and he got Palace absolutely firing. Bit of a slow start this year, but you can see he's kind of building a team. And if he can keep a hold of some of those key figures, even if it's just for one more year and have a good Europa League campaign, it could be absolutely huge for that club. So my hatred for Liverpool makes me want to choose Oliver Glasner. So I think that's what I'm going to do.
Luke, what's yours?
So I've gone for Eddie Howe. And the reason I've done that is because this narrative of Arne Slot coming in and winning in his first year, I still think Liverpool were knocking on the doors the last 3-4 years. Essentially, it's Jurgen Klopp's squad. And I think what Eddie Howe has done is I think there was a lot of pressure on him this year to win a trophy. I think obviously winning the League Cup against the Liverpool team and how he kind of changed his tactics when he played him and kind of sussed it out when he played them in the league and then said, right, I'll change completely for when we play them in the final. I think that was kind of a genius move and also kind of reaching the Champions League as well. So that's why I've kind of gone with Eddie Howe.
Fair shout. Unfortunately, the majority wins here, so manager of the season is going to be at Arne Slot. But that's fair, and both of you echoed thoughts for probably competing in moment of the season. And this is not necessarily the most important or, I don't know, most talked about. It's just your favourite and just something worth speaking about. So I will let Luke start, though.
So you're probably not going to like the moment of the season, Martin.
Well, let's finish with Luke there and let's move on to someone else.
So my moment of the season is the draw between City and Arsenal.
What a moment.
Why?
So, personally, I think the season was lost there because Arsenal should have gone for the win. And essentially what's happened is they tried to make a rivalry against City, gone really defensive. And if you remember, City fell off the end of the world after that. And I think it was just a bad decision from an Arsenal point of view. And Liverpool just steamrolled it since then. That's why I'm...
Zero context added to that. It's just Luke, that's like a confabulated memory of the match. Oh, they drew because Arsenal went defensive. You had some bullshit sending off when we were 2-1 up, when we was already winning the match, and then went defensive for a whole 45 minutes. And then on the 65th minute, Rodri got injured, and that was his season over. So that's when it fell off for City. It wasn't because they decided to start being bad. It all tied up with Rodri and then the trial starting and everything like that. There's lots of, and it was like the 96th minute when John Stones equalised. There's nothing to do. It was just going defensive against at that time the best team in the world.
Yeah, but from that point, Liverpool won it essentially. There was no kind of challenge if you think about it.
No, this is just hindsight talking. It wasn't. No one even still put Liverpool in the argument then.
I'm sure there was they not second at that point?
Maybe, yeah, but this like Bournemouth were top after every week, so no one put them in the argument. No, Liverpool still weren't in anyone's thoughts for winning the league by that time. That draw.
I think Chelsea were still on their title.
Chelsea were in it.
Chelsea were definitely not in a title race. Okay.
Well,
that's my moment.
Hey, it's Luke's moment at the end of the day. He can choose.
Yeah, he can choose to remember reality however he wants. That's
defensive masterclass. That's what I remember.
This is why it's Luke's last appearance on the podcast. Liam, moment of the season.
I was caught between a few, but in terms of the Premier League moment of the season, and I'm going to go Premier League. Tarkowski's equaliser against Liverpool. The last Liverpool derby at Goodison. A lot of last things at Goodison this season. But that one was just amazing, innit? And it's like how much a draw can mean against the most bitterest of bitter rivals.
Yeah.
And people can say like, oh, well, it's only a draw. But no, like Everton fans have to put up with an awful lot. Like, not only from Liverpool, they have to deal with Liverpool. There's like two things about Liverpool. So yeah, I think that was probably my moment of the season, despite not really enjoying it because it was Everton. But it was such a good moment.
Fair. Scott,
my moment of the season is Ange Postecoglou's prophecy coming true. Of his, not Spurs winning as such, and not even him saying the fact that he said the quote and then eventually the quote was last year, wasn't it? He said that last year, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or was it earlier this year?
What's good about the quote is he proper doubles down, going, no, you misunderstand me. I'm not saying I think. I always win. Like it is good. Like,
he didn't say like even previously I have always won in my second season. It was like, no, I always
will win.
do it. I always win in my second season. It's like, fucking all right, lad.
I said this last week. Anybody, no matter how much of a prick you might be, if you can back yourself that heavily and then just go and do it and rub it in everyone's face, I can't say anything bad against you. So that's my moment of the season.
Unfortunately, probably be sacked by the time this goes out. It looks like they made a decision on him, doesn't it?
Yeah, it clearly doesn't mean a great deal to Daniel Levy, but
fair play. He should just walk. Like, now he has the right to walk.
Somehow his stock, despite losing 22 games, is inexplicably high. He's somehow got like good press out of this. Like he's staggering, really. So yeah, fair play to him.
Coldest moment of the season.
Literally ice cold. It's fucking brilliant.
Mine is Palace winning the FA Cup, just because I think it's a special moment for a group of fans who, I mean, we all like Palace. We was speaking in the WhatsApp group about coolest football clubs, like none of ours, but we all think Palace is right up there, and they've just got a good, cool manager and a good set of players, and it seems like they're all like on the same page, and the fan base have had shit to like cling on to other than a couple of promotions in most of their lifetime, and to go and beat City in the FA Cup final is like pretty special. It must have been like really such a good moment for so many fans.
Yeah.
My other one, I did have another one. This is special mention, Liam. No, I liked after the Champions League win for PSG, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but the tributes that PSG fans did to Luis Enrique with his daughter, like hit home a little bit. Yeah. I thought it was really good. Like some of the footage that he'd shown from when he won the Champions League with Barcelona, and then the T4 that PSG fans put out of like that image of Zana Enrique with the flag in the center circle and stuff, and then him seeing it and stuff. That just them moments and just compilation and the footage and talk around it and stuff was like it home a little bit, and I just thought it was really nice and like a touching moment for a final that otherwise I weren't really fussed about.
Yeah, no, really nice. I think mine wins.
Tarkovsky wins of all them.
Never mind Luis Enrique's emotional.
Oh no, a lovely moment. You know,
we'll see what ends up on the Instagram page after that. I don't know.
Doesn't top Tarkovsky.
Yeah.
Probably should have let a little bit more time go before I made the play for Tarkovsky's goal there.
Right. Okay, we're going to say goodbye to Luke, and we'll catch up with some of his stuff in a little bit. Thanks a lot, Luke, and we'll catch you up on some of the Prediction League episodes coming up in the near future.
Luke,
let Liam leave you with. Liam was going to leave you with some really insightful, deep, meaningful
Luke,
message.
Before you go, is there any players that you think definitely shouldn't be in the team of the year? Like you've got a veto of one player now. Who's it going to be?
A veto. This is a good actually.
Saka.
Yep, cool. No one had him. Goodbye, Luke.
Bye. Yeah.
Fucking oh my days. Right, we're going to crack on with this. We was talking about biggest dickheads of the season, because this is one that I thought I struggled with for a little bit, and I nearly put the same answer as last season. I don't know if you remember, Liam, but last season we had Nottingham Forest moaning.
Just Forest in general.
Yeah. I'd like to know who you've gone with though.
Well, this is the only one I didn't went with that wasn't Premier League, so I might change my answer for Premier League. Because I said
it doesn't have to be Premier League. It's the football season.
It's definitely Nathan Jones. It's just the most unbearable man in football history. It's horrendous.
Talk to me about Nathan Jones. Just Phil, people might not know who he is.
The Charlton manager, Nathan Jones, who was Southampton manager briefly in the Premier League after leaving Luton prior to their promotion to the Premier League. He got the Southampton job and made a right holy mess of it. I think he was maybe Ruud van Nistelrooy's probably tipped him now, but he's probably the worst appointment in Premier League history up until that point. Nathan Jones, he was horrendous. He did horrendously bad taking over from Hasenhüttl. He was Hasenhüttl's replacement, and he's been Charlton manager. It's been like reacquaintance with probably one of the weirdest guys ever, like aggressively weird. Like,
there was the memes about like him looking for the camera at the full time in the playoffs, weren't there? And him looking around for the
been
camera and then
it's not even new. Like some of these stuff with Luton. Whenever I remember him as a Luton manager, and just he'd start off by going, "First of all, I just want to thank Jesus Christ for this win." I'm like, "What are you on about, mate?"
like he's in the NBA.
You're beating Reading at home. Like, Jesus was not watching this game. Like Luton versus Reading in the Championship on a Tuesday night. Jesus was not watching it. Nathan Jones. He's got Nathan Jones, and it was probably recency bias and the stuff on the playoff semi-final where he's having a chat with the cameras, and you can just see all the players just looking at him going, "What a dick."
Well, this is it. It can't just be for someone who you have grown to dislike over many years, and this is your moment to out him. There's got to be sort of a reason why.
Oh yeah, he's just being him. What's annoying is he's a very good manager. Really good manager. Like he was the transformative manager of Luton. Like the Luton story was 90% Jones, and Charlton he's done an amazing job with. I tipped them to go up because I saw them at the back end of last year, and I was like, he's already got a grip of this team. Next year they'll go up. It wasn't like some kind of super mad calls. Like he's a brilliant manager. Weirdo.
Dickhead might sound harsh, but that's the name on the trophy. That's what's going on.
Fair enough. So well done, Nathan Jones. Scott, who did you go for?
Well, of all people in the world I could have chosen, I selected Nathan Jones.
No way.
That's it. I'll screenshot the notes that I put in my phone later as evidence. But yeah, like seeing him, like you said, Liam, like that performative falling to his knees and screaming, and you're just a prick. Like, just fuck off. Like,
having watched the clip, it is like the look over your shoulder to see where the camera crew are. Yeah. And then he gets down in front of them and his hands in the air. It's
straight from the Bellingham School of PR. It's right out of their playbook. They're just as bad for it. But Nathan Jones is mine.
I can't believe we've got a winner. I almost don't even want to say mine because it's irrelevant now.
I've got a special mention as well when you're giving yours.
Please go for your special mention, Liam.
It's another Football League special mention. It's Chris Wilder. Chris Wilder, all season long.
He's had a stinker this year, and
triumphant bell end.
His stock has dropped big time.
What's he been doing?
He's been fighting players and having it off with fans and everything.
Yeah, going out on the piss when he's won the Sheffield Derby, and slagging off Danny Rolfe. And he's just been so sure that he's going up all year, and he's just acted like it, convinced the thing. And he's managed to trump what he was last year with his whole "well done, you've managed to eat a sandwich in front of a Premier League manager" line that he came up with last year when that journalist was half eating in front of him.
Yeah.
And the thing that he did the most that was so Chris Wilder, it was unbelievable. And I was in the shower and I laughed my head off. The morning after he'd lost in the playoff final, he rings up TalkSport in almost like this conciliatory tone of, we just need to dust ourselves off. It's not the result we wanted, but I thought I'd ring up you guys so the fans could. And I thought, you know what you're doing. You know you've been a bellend all year, so you're getting ahead of the message. And everyone, and straight away, Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Oh, fair play. He didn't need to do that. He didn't need to call. And I'm like, yeah, that's why he did. He's so much of a bellend, and I was so happy.
You weren't ringing Jim White and Simon Jordan, were you? You weren't having that chat.
But anyway, that was my special mention. Go on, mine.
Biggest dickheads. I've mentioned them a few times. It's the PGMOL.
Oh, fucking hell.
Down with the PGMOL. I don't know how much more of a campaign this needs to be for me. This group of loser humans. I actually overheard a Premier League referee recently in a conversation. I don't know what the etiquette is for that, but he was on the table next to me, and I think he was reviewing like a junior referee. He was reviewing his performance for the season and stuff like that. So that must be his role now. But you'll know the referee when I tell you. And is he an
existing one or a retired one?
He is a former Premier League referee who now works for the PGMOL.
Right.
He doesn't have a great record against Arsenal.
In your opinion?
Who you know. And he...
Oh, okay.
And he said this quote that stuck with me is the one thing that I took from it. He said, "We are meant to rule that pitch with an iron fist, but wearing a leather glove." And honestly, those were his words verbatim. And that is straight out of the Howard Webb Sky Sports Monday Night Football package, that, innit? Like,
I might change my pick to whoever this knobhead is.
That was the quote, and it just felt like that is the motto of these Premier Leagues, like, referees. I'm not even going to single out any decision as the worst of the season or anything. And yes, Arsenal have had a rough time with a few of them, but loads of other clubs have. And just the communication that they give out, the PR stunts that they try and pull through Sky Sports and the Ref Watch and idiot other older losers, former losers who are now commentating on their mates, saying, "Oh, they've actually done a good job and these are the rules why," and stuff. I can't stand them. They're not doing their job well. They're not being an advocate for the game. We spend more time talking about them than we start talking about good goals. I'd forgot half of the good goals because I spent so much of the time of the season talking about these losers and their rubbish decisions and the way that they're affecting matches and not the great goals or special moments that we've seen. That's why I've had to do a bit of research and
do you think
go
you'd
off
remember
them.
more good goals if you had a striker?
No. Again, Liam, this is
You'd have more to remember, I guess.
Yeah.
I might have had there might have been more, like, a bigger sample size, but that's not the point, is it? No. Anyway,
No,
that's
I'm
my point.
I'm not getting sucked into an hour-long PGMOL debate. We've had enough podcasts this year on the PGMOL.
I know, but this is my vote, and at least I get my say.
Yeah. Hey, you allowed it.
So, rightly so, PGMOL, biggest dickheads of the season for me. But my majority rules, Nathan Jones, congratulations, you've taken the crown this year. We're gonna take a stab at now. Team of the season. I'm gonna have a short break right now, and what we're gonna do is compare our teams and go off the ones who are the same, and then we're gonna talk about the ones who've got different in each position. So we'll be back in a second. Right, we are back with our official Fixing Football Premier League team of the season, and there's a lot of similarities here, boys. We've got. So we'll start with goalkeeper. I didn't agree with you both. You two have gone with Matt Sells, who has had a very good season.
I thought this would be a pretty conclusive one, but who have you gone for?
Raya. I think Raya's saved Arsenal more. I think
Martin, come on.
Just 1 second before, like, Raya and Matt Sells have shared the Golden Glove. This isn't a wild conspiracy. They both got the same amount of clean sheets. They're the top two goalkeepers. This isn't like I've picked someone out of the second Bundesliga or anything here. This isn't a wild selection. I just think some of the saves, especially early on in the season, Reyes really saved us in games. And that's why he's got my pick. Matt Sells had a great season. He's going to get our vote anyway. So I don't know why this is ridiculous. Just because it's an Arsenal player and it's me.
No, doesn't David Raya have the two greatest centre-halves who've ever lived in front of him?
Yeah.
Well, there you go then. Matt Sells doesn't have that.
There's two very good centre-backs.
There's two very good centre-backs. So you've both got Wolves players in your teams, I think.
Yeah.
Forest, sorry.
Yeah. The Forest hate continues. I think we can move on. I think, yes, David Raya's had a good season, but I think I
don't want your pity, Liam, because you laughed originally, so I don't need your pity. Yeah. Palm me off. Sorry if you're hungry.
Happening. But you've shoehorned Raya into a conversation here.
He's the conversation. He's the one holding the trophy at the end of the season, like the Golden Glove trophy. He is in the conversation. I don't know. This is such a crazy. You two are boring. You let Gary Neville pick both your teams, yeah.
Your credibility is just shot whenever you mention an Arsenal player, Mark.
It is, because
you've had too much previous for just wild Arsenal shouts.
Apparently, we finished second, but we're shit. Like, this is the maddest thing. We're the worst team in the league who finished second as well. In defence, we have all agreed on one player. That's Virgil van Dijk.
Fair. Okay. I mean,
so we're going to make a case for fullbacks. Oh no, sorry. You two have agreed on Munoz as well. Just the way you've wrote it out. Is Munoz right? In fact, he's a right back.
Yeah, he's on the right.
Where does Ola Aina play?
Right
Is
back.
He right?
Well. Yeah, he's right back.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so I've gone with Aina. Ola Aina. Is his whole name Ola Aina?
Yeah, Aina's his surname. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Ex-Chelsea boy.
I couldn't tell. I think he's been very, very good this season, and he gets my bit. I think Munoz definitely had a great FA Cup final and a good finish to the season. But for me, the Forest lad has had his like a real breakthrough season. So he gets my vote.
It was very close. I just want to say it was very close on them two for me. And even figure out now, there's probably a better case for Aina. But I've gone with Munoz just because maybe a bit of recency bias and cup finals. But I'm going to stick with Munoz because I've written it down. So
I think that might be it on Aina. Just very quickly, I think when Forest were flying, he looked incredible. But then when they started to turn, a lot of it was somewhat his fault. He was at fault for a lot of stuff when it started to go bad. Usually came down that side of his, and I think he then started to struggle a bit.
Left back, we've all gone for something different. So Scott, you've gone with Cucurella.
Yep.
But we're not allowed to laugh at that ridiculous choice because you've said it.
Because he is the best left back in the Premier League.
He's the best. He's just about the best left back at Chelsea. I'll give you that.
He's the only left back at Chelsea. We haven't got any others.
There you go.
Terrified.
You can take that award on with him. I will agree that he's had a good season.
He's had a good 18 months. He was one of the standout players at the Euros as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, fair enough.
He's been excellent, and I think especially when you consider how his first year went, he was made a bit of a scapegoat in my opinion. I think he was just the Brighton lad who everyone blamed for. He wasn't as bad as everyone said he was. He wasn't great, but no.
Well, long hair doesn't help that, does it? Because people just assume you're a clown.
Yeah, if you have a bad game, you're ridiculous with long hair.
Yeah, and he's just one of those players that seems to get under everybody's skin that isn't a Chelsea fan. So, but I just don't think there's a better left back in the league as it stands at the moment. And when I think about who plays for everybody else, I just don't think there's anybody better.
Well, I disagree.
Strongly disagree. Liam's gone with Kirkes.
Yeah. I think
he was my other
one
shout.
player that is genuinely better than Cucurella. I think Cucurella's brilliant, by the way. Really good defender. And I think the Anthony thing, Anthony was getting a lot of stick after that game, but I just think he was up against a player that's in form, brilliant, and believes that he's unstoppable. So I think Anthony had no chance. I don't think it was Anthony having a bad game. I just don't think he was ever going to get in that game unless Isco could unlock him, and he couldn't do. So yeah, I do think Cucurella's brilliant. I just think Kirkes is electric. I think we're looking at someone here who's potentially a world-class player, not just a top Premier League player. We're talking about someone who could play for anyone in the world. I think Liverpool, if they get him now, are onto something. I think he's a brilliant player, Kirkes.
Am I wrong in thinking Kirkes played centre-back a few times this season, or is that just maybe the way on some of the games where he might have tucked in at certain times for Bournemouth?
I hadn't clocked it, but the way he gets up and down the wing, you're not using him to his best. But yeah,
I'm just thinking for a time it was always him and Housen, and I don't know if Zabani had been injured or something like that. I'm not sure. I really like Kirkes. Does everything very well. Defends one-on-one really well. He's quick. He's strong. He's class. I've gone with Lewis Skelly. I think he's just had a class season, especially what he did in the Champions League against Real Madrid. Just class, very impressive football. Scored on his England debut. Just meant Liam dying to laugh, smile, say something, do what you need to do.
No, I don't think it's not the most outrageous one. I don't think. I think we're actually talking about the best three performers at left back this season. I
think we lean towards Kirkes personally. I think Kirkes has been excellent. I think he is very, very good. I don't think he's better than Cucurella defensively, but I think Liam, you're spot on. If he carries on his trajectory, he can go and play for anybody he wants.
Is he 20 now? He's 20 or 21.
I remember when they signed him, Fabrizio Romano. Sometimes he just waffles, but he was going on about how much of a steal it was, and they've like got him from out under all these other big clubs. And I didn't really. It's just for some reason it stuck with me. And then when I watched him, I was like, this is why. This is why he was making a big fuss over the guy.
Yeah, Lewis Skelly's 17, by the way, or turned 18 this year.
Jesus,
like a freak. He's a
big lad. He's a big lad, Lewis Skelly, for his age. You know, he's like very.
I think he's a real special footballer. I hope he does stay at left back. By the way, I know you mentioned it before about centre midfield, but I hope he does stay at left back and make it his own. I think the world is his oyster there if that's what he does.
I mean, he's still a fullback. The world's never your oyster at a fullback. But
no, it is. That's it. It's so important these days. But let's move on to midfield. We'll go with Kirk as the podcast shout, and we'll also go with Van Dijk, clear. Munoz is in there, and we didn't mention our other centre back actually.
I was going to say, did we agree on that?
No, Liam, you went with Kanate.
Yeah, I think Kanate's been really good. I think that partnership's been brilliant. There's been some really good centre backs. Milenkovic at Forest, I think, had a very good season.
Scott went with Milenkovic. I went with Gabriel.
I think Colwell's had a very good year as well.
Particularly the last 6-7 games of the season, he was just an absolute monster. Like when I went to St James's Park, he just bossed Isak. Isak didn't do anything that game, but it was mostly because of Colwell. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I think Saliba's been consistently brilliant. He's one of the best defenders in the world. So I don't think there's been much drop off.
I went with Gabriel as mine, just for the goals as well, especially early on.
The injury with me. I did consider Gabriel, but he missed quite a lot at the end of the season, didn't he? So I think that made me move away from it. I've not really picked players that have missed a lot of the season.
I'd like to go with Milenkovic there, just for the breakout as well. I think the price coming into the league. Because Kanate has been susceptible without Van Dijk in the past. I'm not saying he's had a bad season or he's less of a footballer, but he's just...
What about Huyson, by the way?
Huyson, class. Yeah, I think he's had such an unbelievable season. I think of them three, I think we'll go with Milenkovic as the remaining defender. So we've all picked 3 midfielders each as well. We've all sort of gone for a 4-3-3, as that's how we're picking it. Let's see if any of us have got. There is no matching midfielder here.
Oh, that's good. That's good for time-saving purposes.
I'm going to go with my 3. There's 3 very similar midfielders here. My 3 are Declan Rice, Bruno Guimaraes, and Morgan Rogers.
We do have some. No, I went for Bruno as well.
Yeah, you've gone for Bruno, Alexis McAllister, and Gravenberch.
Yeah.
And Scott's gone with Caicedo, McAllister, and Eze.
You fucking giggling at.
Caicedo, it was hard to get in because I didn't know what position he was. I've been told he's the world's greatest right back. I couldn't get.
Liam, he can play in net. That's how good he is. He can just play anywhere he wants.
Scott, he's a very, very good footballer. Very good footballer. Didn't quite make my list, but he's a very good footballer.
No, because there's something. He's probably one of them players that you need to watch very, very closely. And I don't watch Chelsea closely enough to maybe appreciate him. And I don't think he's done things that are as impressive as maybe some of the other players in his position this season, like Rice and like Gravenberch, I would say.
So score a free kick. This is
Honestly, I was ready for the Rice conversation because I think it's been Rice's worst season for quite a long time.
Yeah, I don't think he's been that great at all.
I think he's gone backwards this season. I think he's had a very good finish towards the year, and he had very good games in those Real Madrid games. But Real
he's
Madrid
grown as the season's gone on.
I would say it's a bit more of an exposure of Real Madrid's weakness rather than. I think Rice has had a bad year. I think that's one of the reasons that you've not been at the same levels. I think he's been a big reason for that. I'm being serious. I'm a big Rice fan. Big Rice fan. Uncle Ben's I do like Rice, but I'm
just going to sit here and take it. I'm going to let you sit. This is one for you to explain.
Last year. He was better last season than this season.
Yeah, a lot were. And still it's just it's the conversation. There's a narrative that we was so shit this season.
No, I
and
just
yet
think
somehow we finished second. Like it's
I'm
crazy.
confident that McAllister and Gravenberch were better than Rice this season. I say that with complete confidence.
I'll let
There's actually two agreements there. So we've got McAllister and Bruno Guimaraes by the sounds of it.
Well, myself and Liam agreed on Bruno, and you and Liam agreed on McAllister.
Yeah.
So really, there's only
them two.
It's the third one. By the way, how good is Bruno Guimaraes?
He's so good.
That's a proper midfielder, isn't it?
Newcastle
Another one who I don't think has been as good this year, though. I will say.
Really?
I agree. No, I actually agree with
that.
But I think that's a lot to do with Tonali and his bedding into the team, and the two of them together are fantastic.
Yeah, maybe.
I
Maybe
don't
he doesn't
think
get as much time to shine as he used to.
I almost think we've got a Van Dijk Canate situation here where you need them both to get the best out of that midfield. I think Bruno's better on his own than Tonali would be on his own, but they complement each other so well. There's a lot to like about both of them. Our friend Gallagher, who
Joe Linton as well.
Yeah, it's such a mad mashup of players who none of them look like Bruno Guimaraes looks like a number 10 who's just slotted into a deep 6 role. Tonali looks like a striker who's running around like an idiot in centre midfield. Joe Linton was a striker who's now running around like an idiot in centre midfield. And these three have become like an absolute bastard of a centre midfield to play against. They're unbelievable as a three.
Yeah. Joe Linton is like the epitome of destroyer. Like it's hard to think of a better example in the Premier League at that role than Joe Linton.
I think Sam Allardyce would have loved a Joe Linton. like he's so made for him. There's just something about it where them two would be like besties.
Oh, he'd be brilliant in your team. He'd be brilliant.
Maybe
he would take the pressure off Rice because that gives you another option instead of Rice. Like that him competing with Rice for that maraudering around the pitch 8 with two different styles. That's the kind of depth you need if you want to win. You want to compete on more than one front, which I think that's what's stopping you a little bit. But yeah, he's brilliant, Joe Linton as well.
And a word for the two. So we'll make a choice out of them 3 players, but. So I think we'll select Bruno and McAllister, and then we just need one more. A quick word on Eze. Fantastic year. Perfect player to get the winner in the final. I think deserves a good mention. Morgan Rogers, standout season. I think the standout midfielder for Villa as well this year.
Yeah.
Tielemans might have something to say on that. Tielemans has been brilliant in a different way, hasn't he, this year? He's really...
Yeah,
he didn't have a great first year at Villa, Tielemans.
No, he was really struggling. I honestly thought they'd move him on this year. I was surprised that as the season went on, I was surprised to see how many games he was starting all of a sudden.
Yeah. If you speak to Villa fans about Tielemans, they absolutely adore him now. Like, they love him. Yeah.
So we'll make a choice out of them 3, but we agreed on 2. And up front, we do have an agreement with only one outlier here, and that's Liam's choice of Brennan Johnson as a right thing. The other 2 choices, being quite obvious, are Salah and Isak, and myself and Scott have gone with Brian and Mbeumo up there. But Liam has decided to chuck in Brennan Johnson.
I think Brennan Johnson's been brilliant.
Mbeumo scores 20 goals to get outvoted by fucking Brennan Johnson. Fucking hell.
Look, there was some other...
That's ball tax for you, that.
Ball tax.
If Mbeumo had dreads or a skin fade, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I think, Scott, if we put a filter on you, we might be able to get like an interview with Brian Mbeumo and just make it work.
I'll go and buy a Brentford shirt, or maybe a United shirt now.
This is it. Liam, anything to say there?
I think he's been brilliant, Brennan Johnson. I think he's a really unassuming player. Like, and for someone who, again, last season was getting quite a lot of stick from Spurs fans about performance levels, and he justified quite a hefty price tag from Forest again. Sorry, Forest again. And I think this season he's been brilliant. 11 goals, plenty of assists, scoring in consecutive games. Tottenham's top goal scorer in a real strong season for Tottenham domestically. I think he's been that in terms of the league form this season. Maybe aside from Kulusevski early doors, he's been their only bright spark, and I think he's been a brilliant player. In hindsight, there's probably been other players that maybe are ahead of him, but well. Brian Mbeumo, I can't argue with that.
Fair. I'm surprised that I think it shows the state of the game where we're at, where the striker is the front three is the easiest thing to agree on, and we're more back and forth about the back four lineup, really. So that concludes our awards ceremony. I'm sure the players will be thrilled, and this will be all pride and joy on the social media pages up and down the country. So,
congratulations, everyone.
Liam, what have you made of this season, this footballing year?
Well, I mean, from a Bolton perspective, it started badly, got worse. Then there was a little bit of hope, and then that was dashed. So I'm just kind of glad it's over, to be honest. I was almost relieved we weren't in the playoffs, just because I'd had enough.
He was already out then. I'm done.
Yeah, I'd checked out a little bit, and I'm already feeling better for the break on it. And I'm already starting to read articles tipping Bolton for promotion again. The wheel's starting to turn again. So
we've already been off for like 4 weeks now. When does Bolton's pre-season start? Do you know?
Good question. I don't. We're already starting to be linked with players coming in.
As we're recording this is the first day of the transfer window before it shuts again before the Club World Cup. I'm sure we'll speak about that in the next couple of episodes. Yeah. But that's why the links have gone crazy today, as most people are listening to this. Yeah, I don't know when how much time off a League One club will get because of the way the season's set up and stuff.
Well, it's funny you talk about this because Steven Schumacher was talking. Then this is going back a few weeks now. We're just not really had talked about it because why would we talk about Bolton right now? But he talked about the idea that it is easier to plan for next season if you're not in the playoffs, because going in the playoffs can add up to 4 weeks onto your season.
Yeah.
And therefore you can't plan for what division you're in. Other clubs get a head start that maybe do. Particularly relegated clubs into the division, they can essentially approach players that with knowing what position they're going to be in. So it's made life easier for Bolton. The only trick is that Bolton have almost hired a new recruitment team.
New CEO today.
So
new CEO today.
CEO, yeah. Who's from Bolton, I believe.
Yeah, but he's been at Plymouth.
Yeah, he's been at Plymouth. Not the only, we think we've got someone else in the recruitment team from Plymouth now as well. We've got Fergal Harkin, formerly of Man City, and Standard Liège, our new technical director. So it's almost a completely new team at Bolton. So who knows? It's like you can only then. This is the clean break that we needed this time last year when we didn't know what was going on, and I was saying the place stinks of failure was my words after the playoff final against Oxford. We needed a clean break. We're now here 12 months later, but
made that quite personal.
To look forward to now, haven't we, Scott?
Say again.
We've got the Club World Cup now, the fifth of 5 fronts.
We do indeed. It's
the final frontier.
The Club World Cup is going to be an interesting one. It kicks off on 20th of June, I believe.
Yeah,
that is coming up. Also coming up is my second baby, and time is ticking on that one. So these episodes are going to be a bit crazy going forward. We'll see, but we've got a lot of transfer stuff to do, catch up on. Transfer market silly season is going to be kicking off any day now.
It's already started, I think. It's already gone fucking crazy.
Be prepared. Liam is already itching at the fact of Arsenal's striker pursuits. I'm sure he can't wait to get stuck into them.
I was actually just looking at the first kickoff times for the Club World Cup. Out of curiosity, 15th of June, first game, 1 a.m. Al Ahly versus Inter Miami. So
I wouldn't miss that one.
No, and then in the morning, but then 5 p.m. the next day, is Bayern Munich versus Auckland City, and then that evening we've got our first proper game, I would say, of PSG versus Atletico Madrid. So now we're talking. And then that evening
Liam,
at 11 p.m. Sorry, The first day finishes, Martin. Liam. Listen to this. Palmeiras versus Porto. No, that's what we want.
I know. I've done that. The prediction league is ready and set up and ready to go. Don't worry about the fixtures. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Getting involved and give us your opinions on the team of the season, goal of the season, anyone who you'd like to out as the biggest dickhead this season. That is the main one that we're really interested in. Yeah. You can find all the information at fixingfootballpodcast.com. Let's say a big thank you to Luke, as always, and his massive forehead in the camera. Scott, thanks a lot for joining us, mate. We'll catch up with you on Chelsea's pursuit of the ultimate collection of European and world trophies. Let's even call it now.
World domination happening soon.
I'll hopefully be able to fill you in on Arsenal buying a striker at some point soon, and Liam will be able to tell me that it's the wrong one.
It won't be, because you'll get Gyökeres like an adult club. You won't surely take a risk on some Bundesliga mid-level striker for 90-odd million just because he's younger and everyone's telling you not to do it, so you'll just do it to prove how clever you are. You won't do that. I spoke about it on last week's episode. We'll find out very soon. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll catch you soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Goodbye. Yeah.